Hello and welcome to the read of the Love Exquisite Magazine, which you can access for free on loveexquisitellc.com. My name is Lynette and I am reading the article titled Healthy Boundaries in the For the Love of Relationships section of the magazine. Healthy Boundaries. Happy Father's Day. Happy birthday, Danette. Woo woo. Happy Juneteenth as well this month of June. So make sure y'all celebrate freedoms, and liberty. So healthy boundaries. In relationships, some people believe that there should not be any boundaries. Some view boundaries as a way of control or restriction or limited um, limits, I should say, just limit. These are unedited, you already know. However, there are healthy boundaries that should be established in every relationship. Notice I said healthy boundaries, not just boundaries, but healthy ones. The boundaries that I'm referring to are your non-negotiables. Healthy boundaries that you set in your relationship should be communicated to your partner during your courtship, not after, during your courtship, where the foundation of your relationship begins. The healthy boundaries should be realistic expectations on what you are willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept in your relationship. Physical, mental, emotional, and sexual abuse are healthy boundaries to establish when communicating about what you will not accept. There should also be healthy boundaries about how you communicate with your partner, because we often communicate in different ways. So you want to make sure that if you are with someone who communicates aggressively, and they and this, you like, well, oh, wait a minute, quit with the finger pointing and get out my face. Back up a little bit. Talk to me with a little bit respect. Not a little bit respect, but talk to me more respectfully. You know what I'm saying? So you establish those boundaries. And sometimes you get caught up because in the beginning you start playing and it's cute and funny, and then after a while it ain't funny no more. So nip it in the bud early. Don't even play like that if you don't want it to be a continuance in your relationship. So respect is another thing that you have to establish and set in your relationships. You have to establish that respect and communicate with each other in a respectful manner. You also should have healthy boundaries about sexual behaviors and intimacy within your relationship. Those things, because I can't dive too deep, but y'all know what I'm saying. Sometimes people want to push the envelope. So, how far do you want to go? Express that with your mate. What are the boundaries in your intimate relationship? So, I'm not going to get into detail, but y'all know what I'm talking about. So, you talk about it. What's your likes? What's your dislikes? What your turn ons? What are your turn offs? You share? You're not sharing. You know what I mean? You stingy? I am. So you know what I'm saying. Y'all know what I'm saying. You get my point. Not stingy in the aspect of not with my mate. I'm talking about sharing. That part of stingy. So time and priorities are also important topics that should be in the conversation that couples should discuss in their relationships as well. So prioritize what is a priority to you. You communicate that these family, friend time with friends, whatever the priorities are, your work obligations, your work life balance, how you raise your children, what type of things are important to you, your value system, and what do you prioritize as well should be in the conversation. Time as well, because some people they thrive in isolation, autonomy. They don't really want you all up in their face all the time. You know what I mean? So you want to establish those healthy boundaries, and other people might need that time and attention, more time and attention. So you want to make sure that you're communicating with your partner your healthy boundaries. So these things are important to the happiness and longevity of your relationship. So make sure that you clarify roles within your relationship and be clear on what you need from each other to be happy and fulfilled within your relationship. So keep in mind that consistently holding your mate accountable. Remember me saying consistently, not sometimes, but all the time. Holding your mate accountable for staying within those healthy boundaries. It can help build stronger and healthy and more fulfilling relationships. So don't be afraid to set healthy boundaries in your relationship. Some people say, well, I don't want to make it seem like I'm trying to be a drill sergeant, or I don't want to make it seem like I'm trying to be his mother or her father. I want us to do and be whatever we want to do in our relationships. But at the end of the day, when you don't communicate your needs, somebody's needs is not getting met completely. So it's important that you create healthy boundaries, and you're not afraid to communicate what those boundaries are, what those healthy boundaries are. Make sure they're realistic expectations as well, because the both of you deserve to be happy, whole, and content. So don't be afraid. Have that conversation if you haven't had it already, or if you haven't had it in a while, and things in your relationship has gotten a little bit out of hand to the point where you're dreading to go home. You rather go get the drink at the bar than to go home with the wife and the kids or the girlfriend, and whatever the situation might be. You rather go hang with the fellas or your girlfriends, whether it's girl or guy. I'm talking about both parties, men and women. So it's important that you communicate and just say, listen, babe, can I talk to you for a minute? I want to talk to you, without the person saying, oh Lord, what now? Don't nag them, but be mature enough to have a healthy conversation with them about how you feel. What are you feeling right now about in your relationship? How do you feel loved? Do you feel wanted? Do you feel needed? Do you feel necessary? Do you feel like the relationship is working, or do you feel like the relationship needs work? So you have to communicate whatever that is. And even if it's everything is fine and I love you and I'm proud of your growth, communicate that as well, because that encouragement promotes continuous behavior, so set out the boundaries and don't be afraid to communicate what they are.